Hey friends, I'm back with another scrapbook page for the Felicity Jane creative media team. Hey, we're going to make some beautiful stamped layered flowers, and you see them right there using the Henley stamp set from Felicity Jane. So for more information about Felicity Jane products, a link is posted down below. Now what I wanted to do was sort of get some mileage out of my stamp. I'm running very, very low on my embellishments with my kits because I'm using them so much. So I decided I was going to make some layered stamps. So I'm going to grab the stamp set. It comes with a solid stamp and it also comes with a more detailed stamp. And you're going to see how that works here in a second. You also want to grab some ink selections. Any color will do. Just make sure that you have a light color. And then you also have a darker color to stamp on the more detailed stamp. So I'm using some Memento inks in Angel Pink, Rosebud, Pearl Tart, and New Sprout. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp up my acrylic stamp. Then I'm going to wipe it off so I can get ready to add my other detailed stamps. I'm going to grab this one. It's a beautiful rose stamp. Now I'm going to take the darker ink, Rosebud. So I stamped Angel Pink first, and I'm going to take Rosebud, and I'm going to position that on the solid stamp. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes these stamps line up perfectly, sometimes they don't. It's kind of hard to figure out where that more detailed stamp goes. So there we go. Look how beautiful that is. Very, very minimal effort. Now this stamp set also comes with a set of leaves, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. First I'm going to use some New Sprout, that's the lighter of those two green inks, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on my scrap piece of white paper. Now I could stamp that along with that flower, like move that stamp closer to the flower and cut that out all as one die cut, but I'm going to keep them separate, and that gives me a little bit more freedom in terms of where I want to position those leaves. So now I'm going to grab the Pearl Tart, a little bit of a darker green, not too dark, but just enough to see the detailed layered stamp there, and there we go. Very, very pretty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp a whole bunch of these flowers. I'm going to fussy cut them out. And if I have any extra, I can pop that on a card or put it in a traveler's notebook or maybe in my art journal. And I'd probably cut out maybe 5 or 6 or maybe a little bit more. And I think I end up using 5 on the way out. This is a great way to get some mileage out of your stamps. If you are a Felicity Jane subscriber and you know we get a stamp every month with the kit, this is a great way to get some mileage out of those stamps, those layered stamps. And you can create your own unique die cut. So there we go, my flower die cut. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the flower to the leaf using some Tombow Mono, and I'm going to repeat this process a few more times so I can create a complete set of these stamp roses. Look how beautiful that is. It's so pretty, very little effort, and I'm getting a lot of usage out of that stamp set. So let's go ahead and put the layout together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a background using a couple of the pattern papers from the Alexis kit, and I believe that first one is called Stripes and Spots, and then the other one's called Dots and Plus, I believe, or Floral and Dots, I can't remember. So I cut that down to 8.5 by 11, then I trimmed that blue and white stripe paper, which I love. It kind of has an ombre effect. I can't get that word out today. Ombre effect there in the background, so it's really pretty, and I love how that blue works with that black and white polka dot. I want to add a little interest to my photo. These are photos of me and my little girl I took one evening. And I have a frame, and I believe that one is from the Henley kit. I think I'll use about 4 or 5 of my Felicity Jane kits on this layout because they're all designed to work together, and that's the beauty of it. So I'm going to trim that out. I'm going to add a little bit of foam behind that photo using some fun foam. I love fun foam because it's thin enough where it doesn't make the items on your page super bulky, and I get those at Hobby Lobby. No, at Michael's. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive there behind that photo, and then I'm going to adhere the photos together. Now looking at this, I think I slightly cut off my baby's face in that left photo. I might go back and adjust that. Now I decided I needed something else to layer for my photo cluster, so I grab a tag, and this is from the Heidi Felicity Jane kit. They're called story tags, and they come with a set of white tags with 3 different sizes, and you get the reinforcers that are in about 3 or 4 different colors. So I use the turquoise enforcer for that tag. For my title, I'm going to use a die cut called You and Me, and that also comes from the Reagan die cut set from another Felicity Jane kit. And here are those beautiful flowers that I stamped in die cut. That pink looks amazing against the blue and white stripe. And at this point, when I'm putting this together, I'm like, yes, honey, yes, this is great. I get so excited when I'm crafting. So I'm going to layer those flowers underneath the photo, so it kind of looks like the photos are nesting in a bed of flowers, a little bed of roses, really pretty. And I'm trying to figure out where I want my other elements to be. So I have this die cut that says love, again from one of the Felicity Jane kits. Before I finish that out, I'm going to go ahead and get my flowers nice and adhered to my background. And what I want is the flowers that have sort of the darker stamped image, because there's 2 of these detailed layered stamps that come with the kit. I want those to sort of nestle underneath the flowers that have more of the lighter detailed stamping. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the other 3 flowers, one to the left, one in the middle, one on the side, just to add some interest. And it's going to look really, really pretty to layer those up like that. I'm using some Stampin' Up! Foam adhesives, which are my favorite. They're not very thick, and so my page won't be super bulky. So I'm going to get these all adhered, or not adhered, but I'm going to add all of these little dimensionals to the flowers, and it just looks so pretty. Like, there's not much more that is needed. I think the flowers just really make the layout pop, and that's definitely the focal point outside of the photos. So I'm going to grab some more of these little dots here. I'm so excited when I do stuff like this. And when I was stamping the flowers, I just put on a movie. I think I was watching Must Love Dogs, which was one of my favorite movies, and just relaxed and cut all those little flowers out. And as you can see, I have some extras there to the left side of the screen, and I'll use those for another project. So I'm going to add my title. I'm going to add that label that says love, because I felt that there needed to be a little bit more. I wanted to use that little call out there, but that wasn't going to work. So I'm going to end up moving this little love die cut around, but I eventually settle on it being there at the top of the photo. So I'm going to adhere that down. And that works perfectly there to the top right of my photo along with that frame. Now I'm going to add my title. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of the Tombow Mono adhesive to the bottom. And since my photo in the frame is sort of elevated, as well as the middle flower, I need to make sure that the title is equally elevated. So I am going to double up on my foam adhesives. This also prevents my item from sinking into my page. I've made lots of scrapbook layouts over the years where I didn't use enough foam, and now I go back and look at it and the elements just look like they've kind of sunk into the page. I was a newbie. I didn't know what I was doing. All right, so now I want to add a little bit more detail. Now, true to form, anytime I use a tag, usually I don't want to put any type of fiber through it, and then I change my mind and I find myself pulling it up. And so here I am adding some black and white twine. That's from American Crafts. And of course, I love the look of bows, but I hate making them. So I'm like, okay, is it too long? Nope, it's too short. And then I try to adjust it, and I'm like, no, that looks wonky. And then, nope, that's too short. And then I try to pull it up. See, try to pull it out again. I mean, circle of life. I just cannot get bows right. I'm just not a bow person, but it looks so pretty with that fiber on there. So I finally got that taken care of. Now I want to add something to the right-hand side to serve as an anchor for some smaller embellishments to come. So I'm going to go ahead and tear that down. That is, again, from another one of my Felicity Jane kits. I think that one might be from either Henley or Reagan. I can't remember. So I want to add a little bit there. My first intention was to add the date there, but then I changed my mind because I found this cute sticker set that I had just kind of hanging out in my stash. And I want to say that is Reagan or Heidi. I can't remember. No, the story tags are from the Heidi kit, I believe. I think I may have already mentioned that. So I'm going to cut out a little heart. It's a black and white striped heart. And I'm going to label that or layer that over that pink and white label once I get the sticker backing off. There we go. I had thought for just a brief moment that I wanted to pop that up too, but then I changed my mind. Now I'm going to add some of these really beautiful epoxy dots. And they're white, so you can't, or the ones that I'm using are white, so you can't see them all that well here on the video, I don't think. But they look really subtle, but very pretty on the layout. It's a nice little touch of texture. When I've done a lot with a layout, if I have a really bold statement like, or a bold element like those flowers, then I like to make sure that the rest of the embellishments are a little bit more understated. Now here's a little experiment. I saw somebody else print their journaling as black strips. All you do is you do a text box in your word processor, whatever that you use, and then you type out your journaling, make the background black, make your font white, and then you print it out. But then I started thinking, wow, that looks really, really heavy along with those really beautiful light flowers and the light background. Now I may do this technique on a different layout, but I decided to change it. So as I'm kind of mulling my way through this, I decided, well, let me go ahead and embellish the rest of the layout and see where I go. So I added some more of the epoxy shapes. This time, these little hearts are from the Kate kit. And I love those little hearts. They're beautiful. And it's right around here when I'm thinking that black journaling is just a little bit too heavy, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to use a stamp. And the stamp says, love you the most. And I was trying to decide where I want to position that stamp. So I'm going to grab my VersaFine ink in black. And that stamp is from a stamp set called Love Note Stamps. And that came out a little bit before or after Valentine's Day, I believe. Again, a Felicity Jane stamp. Alrighty, so I'm going to put that up, and then I'm trying to decide what else do I want to do. And again, I'm still kind of mulling over that journaling. And every time I look at it, it's like either it looks good or it doesn't. And I think I'm going to ultimately make the decision not to use that black journaling, at least not for this particular layout. So I grab another stamp set because there's so many wonderful stamps. And that stamp says The Story, and that is from the Alexis kit. So I'm continuing on with my stamping. So I'm going to grab a Heidi Swapp stamp, one of my favorite roller date stamps. I'm going to stamp the date and get that into position underneath the journaling. Now I'm getting to look at it, and here I am looking at it, and at this point I'm like, nope, we got to change it up. So I did. So I reprinted my journaling, this time against white cardstock with black text, and I think that looks a lot better for this particular design. To learn more about Felicity Jane kits, head on over to felicityjane.com. The link is posted down in the description box below. Hey, before you go, be sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and when you do, make sure you hit the bell indicator. That way you'll know every time I post a video here to the Victoria Marie YouTube channel. Also, if you want to see some more Victoria Marie greatness, click on these videos right over here to the right-hand side. And as always, you go and be creative.